The rising quiet queens. Let's see. Okay. Come on. Okay, I forgot to hit the go live button over here. All right, all right. Divine rising quiet queens and kings. If you're out there and you're watching and you're tuning in on this morning, um, excuse me, we're going to be tapping into clarity begins with expectations, but we're going to dive into what that really means. And let me, I always forget to do this. Hit the record over here. All right. And if you are tuning in with me on this morning, let me know where you are chiming in from on this morning. Um, you know, everything's moving a little tad bit slow this morning, so um, let's see if I can get this shared out. Let's see, because everything is moving slow this morning. Let's see, we're gonna go and go. All right. And let's see if it's gonna work over here. It's been acting a little. Oh, it worked this morning. All right. Good. I almost didn't go live this morning. Kind of dealing with a little bit of a headache. So we're gonna get through this though. But as you see, we're talking about again, clarity begins with expectations, and the description is many disappointments are not caused by bad intentions; they are caused by unclear expectations. Let's say we're talking about expectations, communication, ownership, personality, and not personality, but personal integrity, and why clarity often prevents frustration. So, and as you all know, I just sometimes be thinking about this stuff um, and how many frustrations in life aren't caused by bad intentions. It's not caused by bad intentions, and they're caused by assumptions. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a person that don't really like using the words expectations. Is because we're gonna get into that here. One reason why I don't um, use it because at the end of it, like saying an um, expectations that are never clarified often become disappointment. And this is one of the reasons why I don't use the words expectations or I expect what people, would expect people to do or whatever, but I mean, I guess it's I guess you can use the word, but it's just how you're using the word. I mean, and more or less for me, it's like, it's more of a self thing than a outwardly thing. But in any event, like I said, I've learned that clarity is one of the greatest forms of kindness, right? Clarity is one of the greatest forms of kindness because people cannot consistently meet expectations that were never communicated. And sometimes we haven't even made our own expectations clear to ourselves. And that's one of the biggest things for me. It's because the thing is, like, you can have expectations for other people, or other people can have expectations for you that was never ever communicated. But then at the end of it, or they don't have expectations for themselves, or vice versa, or I never had that same expectation for myself that I want someone else to have. And at the end of it, what happens is that the disappointment comes, and then you're frustrated, you're upset, but then you want to be frustrated, upset with the other person because they your expectations or vice versa. But the thing is, it never was communicated clearly. So if it was never communicated clearly, then how would that person know, or how would I know, right? So in the event of that, the disappointment should happen on your end versus the person that you're want to be frustrated with, right? Anyway, I know that was like a tongue tie kind of twister there, but I mean, you're gonna get what I'm talking about. um, let me make sure because I need to check. Uh, Sometimes can't girl can't see. I said I can get this to stay up. All right. So unspoken expectations often become hidden disappointments. So we're gonna get into this, right? We are gonna get into it. And so I think many of us expect things without realizing we're expecting them. And that happens a lot. Many of us expect things without realizing we're expecting them. And we expect people to understand. We expect support. We expect consistency. We expect appreciation. But if something hasn't been made clear, how can we hold someone accountable to what they never understood? And honestly, sometimes we're frustrated with people when the real is that the expectation was never discussed, right? So, where in your life have you been expecting understanding without first creating clarity? Think about it, this happens to us a lot. I mean, it happens to the majority of people. I mean, and we could bring it on to jobs because the thing is, when you go to a job, they have expectations, right? Expect you to do a job a certain way. They tell you how to do it. They explain what it is. And so you think about it, if you're wanting something done a certain way and you want it done at a certain time, you got to communicate that over. You got to be clear about what it is that you want. And so let's get into clarity creates the peace, right? And I think clarity is one of the most loving things we can offer because clarity removes guessing, it removes assumptions, it removes confusion, and people thrive when they know where they stand, and so do we, right? We thrive when we know where people stand or where we stand, right? Because uncertainty drains emotional energy, but clarity creates that peace. So let me ask you, what expectations have you never communicated, yet secretly hope someone would just recognize it? And I think sometimes, we expect these things and we hope people to recognize or just to know. Um, and sometimes we fear the conversation, we fear of asking, or I would say asking that person for whatever it is that what you're generally wanting. I mean, but then sometimes I think about, if you're afraid of asking, um, I just lost my thought. But it's almost like if you're afraid to ask, truly, is it something that you do yourself? I mean, because think about it. I'm only going to ask somebody something that I would probably do for myself. Um, but if I need that assistance or something like that, I would communicate, hey, if they could do it or not. I mean, in any event, and sometimes I think we fear also the rejection of them saying no, right? But what I say, the saying is a closed mouth don't get fed, right? So you can't go and make the assumption that this person should know and recognize what it is that you want without you having to communicate it. So, personal integrity means being clear with yourself, right? Let's talk about that. Personal integrity means being clear with yourself. And I think we spend a lot of time trying to clarify expectations with others, but how often do we clarify expectations with ourselves, right? What are we building? What matters most? What are we committed to? What season are we in? Because when we don't know, everything begins competing for our attention, right? And when everything is important, nothing is. Let me say that again. When everything is important, nothing is. So it's almost like, it's like prioritizing, find out the important things that must be done first, right? And then things you may want to delegate to other people. But again, that goes back to being clear what it is that you want and communicating that with the next person so that they'll understand and know where they stand, and you do too, right? So let me ask you this. Have you clearly defined what you're expecting for yourself or from yourself, or are you simply reacting to life? Because I think we wake up every single day and we react to life. And I'm saying this in a general sense. I'm not saying this is for everybody because I know for myself, I don't react to life. I wake up with, what I'm gonna do and do it. So, but majority of people they do. Um, they simply get up and react to life. So, and it's almost like, you're not being in control of your life. You're letting your life control you, right? Be in control of your life. Don't let your life control you. So, why Quiet Queens Academy exists? And before I get into that, because I talk about Quiet Queens Academy like every live, I bring it up is because it's important to me. That is one of my key focus is Quiet Queens Academy. And if you are not a part of the community, then you definitely should consider it. I'm not gonna, because like I said, I don't try to convince anyone or try to persuade anyone to do anything. But if you it should be in my bio as well. If you're depending on where you're watching this from, and if you're on YouTube, I will drop that later in the description. Uh, whitequeensacademy.com/community. You can go there and you can get in the community. And let me tell you why I created Quiet Queens Academy, because I wanted women to have clarity. And clarity, if you notice, is I talk about clarity all the time because we got to get clear. We got to get clear, right? And that's clarity around who they are, right? We're talking about women. Okay, clarity around how they want to build, clarity around what they don't have to become inside the community. And everything is structured to reduce confusion and create understanding through Stop chasing, stop chasing the posture shift, calm conversations that convert the business model, because I believe women deserve environments where expectations are clear, where there is understanding, where there is structure, and where women can make decisions from clarity instead of pressure. So let me ask you, what would change in your life if you became intentional about creating clarity instead of hoping people would just know, right? So measure twice, adjust often. And this is something that, we talked about in where this is coming from is where, our call that I get on every morning. It's called the Inspiration Morning Vitamin. Um, and this is, about personal development. And so this is kind of where this is coming from. And part of this is, what they were talking about on this morning. So we talk about measure twice, adjust often. And I've learned sometimes clarity doesn't mean perfection. It's creating understanding before moving, because making adjustments after clarity is easier than repairing confusion later. And when we do miss something, ownership allows us to apologize, to correct, to realign, because integrity isn't never needing adjustment. Integrity is being willing to make them, right? So where would you, or where would your life feel different if expectations became conversations instead of assumptions, right? So I'm getting ready to wrap this up, and I want to share this on this morning because I think many Frustrations are not really about people. They're about clarity. Clarity creates peace. Clarity creates understanding. Clarity creates alignment. And that's really the heart behind Quiet Queens Academy. Creating an environment where women don't have to guess, where they can build through understanding, where expectations are clarified, excuse me, um, when adjustments are welcome, and where leadership begins with integrity. Because sometimes the breakthrough isn't doing more, sometimes it's making sure everyone understands what we're building together. So I appreciate everyone tuning in on this morning and listening in this morning to Quiet Queens Live. I am Shakita. You all have a divine day, and I will talk to you probably next week. I don't know. I might come back live this weekend. I'm not sure. Supposed to start getting my hair done. That's the one exciting thing about that. Supposed to happen Sunday. But anyway, like I said, tune in, stay tuned for next week. I'll definitely be back next week.